This is the Hog Central Podcast, sponsored by the Landers Auto Group. And now, here's your host, Steve Sullivan.
Welcome to the Hog Central Podcast. If you search Grok for best Razorback basketball walk-on, it's going to come up Ernie Murry. And for ultimate Razorback basketball authority, it's going to be Coach Z. And gentlemen, what did Nolan say? All sickness is not death.
I thought about that after the game.
That game was pretty close. I mean, that was 40 minutes of bad basketball.
Well, defensively, we were pitiful.
Yeah.
I just think we thought we could show up, shoot the basketball. Auburn lost a big game on a timing error that was really correct. So they were ready to play. They needed some good luck. And I think we came out and we let Auburn impose their will on us. And give these kids credit. They played lights out. I mean, they matched up with us well. And I just thought Auburn was the best basketball team. And like Coach Cal said, burn the tape.
Z?
He sure did say that. You know, I went in to do the post-game radio interview with him, and he had not been to the media yet. And that's the first thing he said, Ernie. He said, burn the tape. He said, that wasn't my team. I don't know what team that was. That wasn't us. We've not played like that all year. We've not played such poorly defense all year. And he said, burn it. He said, I'm not going to watch it. I'm moving on to the next game. I'm getting ready for South Carolina. And I think that was his mindset. And I heard him tell the team as he kind of was leaving to go to the press conference after that, he said, if they want to shower, they're going to shower. They better shower right now. When I get done with the press conference, and he said, we're out of here. And he didn't want to spend a lot of time there after the game. And we got out of Dodge, and we got back to Fayetteville after a tough loss. Sully, under 4-minute media timeout, we were actually on the court like we used to be broadcasting. Most of the time we're not now. But we were on the court. And he walked over to us, and I slid my headset. I could tell he was wanting to say something. I pulled my headset off, and he said, this is a shellacking.
Wow.
And I didn't really know what to say to that. You know, I didn't want to say, yeah, you're right. And so then, then he kind of walked by, and Chuck Barrett said, what did he say? I said, he said it's a shellacking. And Chuck Barrett said, he sure is right about that. And it was just one of those games, and we, as Ernie said, a desperate team, a team that was fighting. And not that we didn't play hard, but I think about midway through the first half, our guys were like, we're going to keep playing hard, but I'm not sure they believed that we were going to win that game after the first stretch.
I thought Auburn had a great plan. They played a little off, invited Arkansas to shoot the three. And the 15 of Arkansas's first 22 shots were three-pointers. And when Arkansas missed a three, it was rip and run.
It was rip and run.
And they were not getting back. And I think they wanted to serve two purposes. They wanted to not let Acuff drive the ball, and two, they didn't want Arkansas to run. And they checked both boxes.
You got to give them credit. They watched film on us, and evidently in transition, we don't get back. Because as soon as they were getting the ball, they was 94 feet to the other end. I did a little research on Acuff, and I think he's a great basketball player. But I think one area he needs to work on is getting his teammates more involved. He had one assist in that basketball game.
Yeah.
One. And a guy that's got the ball 35 minutes a game, he got to get you more than one assist. As Acuff go all around, so goes this team.
Yeah, I agree with that. And his assist numbers have been so good.
They've been going up.
They've been going up. And now, but early in the year, Ernie, he did have a lot of 2 assists, 3 assists, 4 assists, and he'd shoot 18 times. He'd score 20 points, but he'd shoot 17 times or 18 times or 16 times. And then all of a sudden he has this stretch where he's getting 9 or 10 assists. And he's scored in the 20s, but he's only shooting 13 times.
That's correct.
And he was getting all these free throws too. So he had great points on not a ton of shots. He had free throws helping that, and he had huge assist numbers. All three of those are big positives. And he didn't have it like that. This game was like, even the Ole Miss game a little bit, he had a lot of assists against Ole Miss, but he had a lot of shots, didn't make as many. This one, a lot of shots, didn't make as many. And he didn't have the same type of game. 7 of 16,
right?
Which isn't terrible, but 19 points, 1 assist, 3 turnovers. when he was on the floor, this is a guy that's going to be an All-American.
Yeah, I looked at that stat.
Listen to this, Sully.
I heard it.
When he was on the minus 30.
Wow.
Minus 30.
How? And another thing you've mentioned, Z, is their kryptonite is big, physical, athletic guys. Keyshawn Hall and Keyshawn Murphy, both of them did a job on Arkansas inside. They could not match up with Keyshawn Hall at all. And a lot of folks in the SEC aren't going to match up with that guy.
And we're going to – in the SEC, there are no dummy coaches. You're going to get exposed. And they, for some reason, they think we're a little soft inside. Yeah. So they go right at us. And you got to give Ewan credit. He had a great game.
He fought back.
He fought back. But I was sort of a little disappointed in Brazil and the other guy. I mean, if they hit you, you got to hit them back early. Because if you don't, they're just going to keep mounting and keep doing. I thought physically and mentally, they dominated the basketball game from start to finish.
Hey, Z, do you think he was testing Ewan? He kept him in the game a long time, and Ewan did fight back. He had 13 points, 12 rebounds, a couple of blocks. He was the one guy inside who stood up to Auburn.
He really did. I do think Coach was determined to get him going. He played well at Ole Miss. He's played well at times. He's inconsistent, kind of like Trevin Brazil's a little inconsistent. We haven't been getting much scoring from Nick. He's going to give you about 15 minutes a game, going to give you some rebounding and some defense and some screens, but he's not giving you scoring. So the scoring has, as far as the inside guys, the bigs, has to come from Meleek and Trevin. And Ernie, I really think there's more pressure on Meleek and Trevin when Carter Knox is in the rut that he's been in.
Oh, no doubt.
Because Carter, folks, I know he's not a big man, but he's kind of a big man. He's 6'7" and thick and big, and we all know he's our fourth option inside. You got the three 6'10", 6'11" guys, and then even in practice when we scrimmage and do stuff, he's the fourth big man, is Carter Knox. And when he's giving you 0 points, then there's more pressure. And if you're not getting any points from Nick, now that takes you down to 2 people that got to do those kind of scoring, which is Trevin and Meleek. I touched Meleek after the game outside the locker room today. Good job. And this was a good sign, I thought. I mean, he was drenched.
Good.
He'd already taken his jersey off. He had the T-shirt on under the jersey, and it was just dripping in sweat. And you're like, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, you're right, but I've touched guys before after games. I'm like, man, he's not even sweating that much. and he was drenched in sweat. And he gave it. He gave great effort. He did fight. It was 13 and 12 is outstanding. The 2 block shots. Meleek's our best inside scoring guy. Y'all know that. But bring him off the bench. It don't matter if he starts or comes off the bench. If this team's going to make a deep run in March and be a conference champion and try to win an NCAA championship, Meleek Ewan's going to have a lot of 13 and 12 games.
How much of this is true? They say if your team that presses doesn't like to be pressed.
Oh, that's true.
And a team that likes to run doesn't like to be run on.
That's correct.
And they got a wake-up call, I think, on Saturday that you got to get back. I mean, there were so many. It was like they were running at will. It was almost like it was a half-court game, and we were playing half-court. They were playing full court.
And I'm beginning to wonder, a guy like Acuff, I know he's young. He's playing 35 or 36 minutes a game.
Yeah.
That's got to take a toll.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. When you think about a guy, I don't care how young you are, 35, 36 minutes a game at that level, that's a lot of minutes. That's probably more like 72 minutes. But I think he ran out of gas again. I think he got tired late because the guards from Auburn were very, very quick and very physical with him. He made some great plays, but I just didn't see the Acuff that I saw at Ole Miss and Tennessee. And you're going to have games where you don't play great, but he still played good.
Yeah, 35 is a lot, and that's what he's at. That's what he's at in league games. He's a little bit less than that overall in the overall games, but, you have some blowouts that he got to sit a little bit. 35 is a lot, and we can't give him much more than that because sometimes if you get anxious, all of a sudden you want to play him 40, like what Texas Tech does. You can't do that. He needs a rest. Maybe we can still get 35 out of him, and he's going to be great. Against the South Carolina, he can probably play 35 and be great. Okay. But is he going to be able to do that on those neutral site and on those tough road games? We still got 7 more road games. After that, that's it. we'll be done with the road. It'll be all neutral site after that, which you can tend to play a few more minutes on those. But I do think that that's a question.
Yeah, coaches.
That is a question.
Yeah, coaches will say a beating like this is good for you early in the season. We saw back at Muss when they took those 2 bad road losses and came back and had a great year. And last year, South Carolina, the Hogs didn't show up. You've been part. I don't think, Ernie, you've been part of any teams that took a loss like that. Maybe Vegas, you had the first half lead and lost, but that was Vegas.
Yeah.
You've been part of teams that have been, on the bottom end of those type of games. What kind of, are they good for you if you're a good team, or can you pull any good out of it?
I think it's a question of that team. I asked Coach Cal that in that post-game interview, and I said, Coach, some of the things you're saying to me now is what the exact words you used after we lost to like 0-12 South Carolina last year, or whatever they were when they beat us. The same words, you used the same message. And he said, yeah. And he said, you know what? Our team last year responded to that pretty well, and we finished out the regular season pretty good. Won a game in a conference tournament, and then won 2 games in the NCAA tournament. He said they responded the right way. He goes, I think these guys will respond in the right way, but I don't know yet. We've not been beaten like this.
Right.
He said, so let's see how we bounce back. So I think Wednesday we're all going to be anxious. Now we're not playing, one of the top teams in our league. We're playing a bottom team, South Carolina. But we need to go out and put it on these guys, I think. And I think that'll get we'll take a 1-point win in 3 overtimes. Don't get me wrong. We'll take a win. But I think Arkansas needs to come out and put it on South Carolina. And then that'll help us as we go to Georgia on Saturday, who just beat South Carolina in Columbia. And so I think it's really interesting how the game plays out. Wednesday should be a victory. But you got to bounce back. And you got to bounce back like Auburn did. Auburn 9-6. Sully, people were talking about Auburn not going to make the NCAA tournament. I was like, Auburn's going to make the NCAA tournament. This was before our game. I didn't see them being a bad team.
No.
But they came out like they had to win.
They did.
And we came out like, well, we'd like to win this game, but it ain't no big deal if we don't win. It's kind of looked like to me a little bit. And Coach said that as well. You got to fight, man. And our guys played hard. I just don't know after about the middle of the first half, I don't think our guys were like, we're going to win this game.
Right. Yeah. And Auburn, bless their heart, they had Texas A&M down 16 points.
Wow.
So they were upset, and Texas A&M come back and still won. But I still say this basketball team has got to get some other guys to step up and sort of take some of the load off of Acuff. I really wish DJ Wagner would step up, and Billy didn't really. Normally he fills the stat sheet up. He didn't do much at Auburn, and I was a little shocked about that. But I guess it's just one of those games. I call it a trap game. You go to Ole Miss and beat Ole Miss. You're feeling good about yourself. You beat Tennessee. You go to a team that you think you're supposed to win, and they come out and hit you in the mouth and basically embarrass you on national TV.
I was just under the belief that this team had enough weapons, could score on anyone. And I wasn't surprised Auburn scored in the 90s. Auburn has been a team that, is one of the more dynamic offensive teams, and they hit the offensive boards, but they haven't been a team that stops teams. I think they had a great plan, and I think that it was kind of like, we weren't prepared for what they threw at us. We took the cheese there, and we started tossing those threes up.
That's exactly right.
And then watching them, and then they got the rebounds. Sometimes it's tough to rebound out of a semi-zone, but they rebounded defensively well and took off.
Give a coach credit.
Yeah.
He went to a zone, and we hit 2 threes. He went back to a man.
Yeah.
You got to also, they matched up with us as well as anybody we played. I thought
and it's a lot matchups in these.
Yes.
It might not be the best team you've played, but when they have those big guys up front, that Keyshawn Hall too, he got his mojo early. Hit a couple of threes.
He's tough.
A 3 with a guy in his face, and then he started driving. And when he gets downhill, I don't care who you're playing, he's going to be tough to stop.
Yes.
Games are a lot about matchups, and Z, you've mentioned our kryptonite has been big guys, and they had 2 that went to work, Keyshawn Hall and Keyshawn Murphy, especially Keyshawn Hall. He was unstoppable.
He was so great, and he certainly made the first 3 of the game, and we knew he could shoot, but I didn't know he could shoot like that. He made 4 for 5 from the 3. Strong lefty, but where I was stunned is how he could go off the dribble we had a hard time getting in front of him or didn't get in front of him. And he'd either go to the basket and dunk it, or he'd go and finish. He'd get through a little contact and finish. Very, very skilled. I mean, we couldn't stop him. 30 points. I saw him before the game, hour and a half before the game. He came up to several of our coaches who were standing there watching warm-ups, gave him a hug. And I was standing by Ronnie. I said, Ronnie, I remember us recruiting him. He said, oh, yeah. He said, we recruited him. He said, we liked him. And then after the game, in his press conference, Keyshawn Hall talked about it, Sully. He said, I really liked Arkansas. And he said, Auburn recruited me hard. Some other guys recruited me hard. Arkansas kind of laid off of me.
He didn't do us any favors with that.
Yeah.
I got a question. You a coach. I'm not going to say that. How do you not get this guy? I mean, he does everything.
You miss guys all the time. I mean, you miss on guys all the time.
God, he's a player. Against us, he was a player. I mean, he made us look. He looked like an NBA player against us. Yeah.
He was determined. He was and he said it. He said, this game was very important to me.
Okay.
And I don't know if, I'm not in the recruiting meetings. I don't know if we eased up on him, or the way he sounded like, they were recruiting me, and then, they didn't go at me as hard.
Okay.
It sounded to me like he really liked the Razorbacks.
Wow.
And I think that he probably really liked the thought of playing for Coach Cal. But for whatever reason, recruiting happens. You get a Meleek Ewan, you get Nick Pringle. Maybe he saw they're already getting all these other bigs. I need to go somewhere where I can be the man. I don't know. But he sure talked about it in the press conference. And I know, and he even said it. He goes, I know we play him again. This may be bulletin board material. But he said, I really wanted to play well against Arkansas.
And let's talk about the league. Alabama loses at home. About the only team that's been consistent that was rated high to top the season, early in the season, is Vandy. When did that balloon bust?
What is in the
It's going to bust this week when they go to Texas. I think Texas is going to get them.
I don't. It's amazing to me how Vandy can. I watched them play at the tournament last year, at the SEC tournament. They got beat, but I was very impressed with their basketball team.
Yeah.
And I'd say that they put some more pieces together, they're going to be pretty good. They are 16-0, the best start in hundreds of years. But as Z said, that could change this week.
And that's not a completely new team. He's developed players that are better this year than they were last year, and props to him. League is wide open, Z.
It's wide open, and if Arkansas would just fight through there, Arkansas can win this league. Even the national guys know that. They're talking more and more about it, even after our loss. The guys on SEC now, they were saying, hey, this is a team that Arkansas should win this league. We just, with the depth, the talent, the length, with a tremendous point guard, with a phenomenal scorer off the bench, Thomas, Meleek Ewan off the bench, you got a lot of talent. But Vandy picked 11th in the conference.
Wow.
They're doing well. They're doing very well. I'm looking at it. The preseason media poll was Florida 1, Kentucky 2. Kentucky. They're not going to finish second. Tennessee 3, Alabama 4, Arkansas 5, Auburn 6, Missouri 7, Ole Miss 8. Ole Miss is going to finish towards the bottom.
Yeah.
But it's a weird league right now, Sully. 8 of the 16 teams, Sully, are 1 win, 2 losses.
Yeah, wow.
So Hogs sitting here at 2-1. You're about to play South Carolina. We should beat them at home. Should be 3-1. You should be at the top of the league here. And I just think that I'm not sold on Vandy. I'm just not sold on Vandy. But I also thought Alabama and Arkansas would be the 2 teams at the top. And Alabama's not playing well.
No, they're not.
They're not looking like one of the top teams in the league. They're just not.
Well, what I like about Vandy is they are a team. When I watch them, the game they played Saturday, they are a team. I think they got more togetherness as a team. We got more individuals right now. And if we can just get a cohesive 5 to play together, I think this team will be much better. But I think they stand around too much and wait on Acuff to do everything for this team to win.
Yeah, and what year is Tremont Mark in?
Got to be number 8.
He's in year 6.
Yeah, he is still balling for Texas.
Yeah, he played great the other day.
I don't know how, like a Trinidad Chambliss can't get an extra year when he had those injuries and some stuff he had, red shirts, and, but Tremont's pretty much stayed healthy. He was hurt a little bit at Houston one time, but he's an older guy. He's Devo in his class. Devo would be in his 6th year.
Wow.
Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder,
crazy.
he would be in his 6th year.
Wow.
Wednesday must game at against South Carolina. You're back at Bud Walton. A great time to be back at Bud Walton, coming off that disaster, the shellacking, as Cal called it, at Auburn. And it'll be interesting how the young guys respond. I think the two of them have great character, both Acuff and Thomas, and they are the pseudo leaders of that team. It'll be interesting to see how they respond on Wednesday.
I was just going to say, the leaders of our team are two true freshmen.
Yeah, they responded well on Saturday. They kept plugging along. And the younger guys, look like the big guys would follow their leadership. We just need a complete effort for 40 minutes, and I think we'll take care of South Carolina. One thing I like about Thomas is he uses those long arms to jump into the passing lane. If you're throwing across the court, you're taking a chance with that kid, and he's been a better defender than I thought he would be.
Yeah, and he's got such great energy on defense. He's just a hustler. He's just flying around. He'll get beat off the dribble a little bit, but he's so good in the passing lanes. As you said, so is Trevin Brazile.
Yeah.
He can get out in passing lanes. I still think Trevin can block more shots. Sully, we've played 16 games, and he's blocked, about 20 shots. I just think he can average 2 or 3 blocks a game as opposed to 1. And there's some games he's had 4 and 5 blocks.
Yeah.
So if he's only got 20 on the year and he's had games where he's had 4 and 5 blocks, that's 9 blocks. There's a lot of games he's not getting any blocks, and I think his defense has to continue to. Yeah. He is an elite defender when he wants to be.
Yeah, he's almost a better trail blocker sometimes when he's coming off to help on defense. And a game like this, they needed rim protection because Auburn pretty much abused you at the rim. What was it 48 paint points?
48 to 28 in the paint.
Yeah, if I were Cal, I'd have that up on the board all week, everywhere they went. 48-28
in the paint. Yes.
And I'm sure he will. And that's one thing. He got embarrassed on Saturday.
Oh, he was embarrassed. You could tell.
He's made it clear how much he likes this team, and he didn't expect a game like this.
Yeah. I watched in the last couple minutes of the game. He couldn't wait till the clock expired so he could get out of there. He was upset with his basketball team, but he know he has a young team, so he's going to pick them up in the dressing room on the plane on the way home, and I think they'll play well against South Carolina.
They're young to a degree, but Z has mentioned they've got a good mixture of old guys on that team.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got.
We do. I mean,
Where's DJ Wagner? Where is he still playing?
He's definitely still playing, and let's talk about him. So if we've got time, almost 30 minutes. A guy that was playing 35 minutes a game last year led the league in minutes in SEC action. His minutes are down. Because of those freshmen and the fact he just hadn't scored as consistently. 4 points the other day, 1 for 5. 4 of those 5 were threes, and he only made 1 of them. He was 1 for 4 from the 3. His assist numbers are a little lower than they were last year. He's not playing the point as much as he did last year. It doesn't look like he's playing quite the defense. I thought last year he was an excellent defense player. Preseason doesn't matter that much, but this was a preseason Wooden Award nominee.
I was just going to say that.
John Wooden Award.
Yes.
There was, I think it was like 50 people. It was the top 50.
Yeah, he was in there. That's right.
And it was him and Darius.
That's correct.
And he was in that. That is impressive. But it hadn't been that kind of season so far. But it's just January.
Right. I think DJ Wagner is better at point guard than he is a 2 guard, and I think taking the ball out of his hand and putting it in Acuff, which I agree with, has really changed his basketball game. I don't think he's attacking the rim. I don't think he's getting downhill. I want the DJ Wagner that was playing the way he played in the tournament last year. I mean, he was just
but
everywhere.
it was his team then.
Yeah.
I mean, he took over that team.
Yeah.
Hey, Z, how concerned are you about the plus and minus? I know Acuff was minus 30 for that game. Does that concern you at all? I mean, those numbers.
I've never, college coaches were smart for a long time, Sully. Like when Ernie played, we didn't have no plus minus.
Yeah, what in the world is a plus minus, Matt? You got to win.
That's right. Hey, you don't want to talk to Nolan Richardson.
Don't talk to him about a plus minus.
He will chew on your butt. No, you won't do it. But that was an NBA thing, and Lee Mayberry was one of the first to explain to me about plus minus. Yeah, you can have a great game, and you might be plus 18. It's awesome, but you might also have a pretty good game in the NBA. And you think you've played really well, and you get 18 minutes and you score 12 points, and you think you've got this, and all of a sudden you look at your plus minus and it's minus 14.
Oh, my goodness.
You're just in there when things don't go as well, or maybe the guy's not hitting the shots, or you may hit a shot, but your teammates may miss their 2 or 3 they get. Next thing you know, because obviously, to me, Malik Ewan was you can argue was our best player the other night, but the best two players we had were Darius Acuff and Meleek Thomas, and it was minus 30. If Meleek Thomas if Darius Acuff hadn't been out there, this is why the plus minus don't mean as much to me. If Darius Acuff hadn't been there, we might have gotten beat by 50.
You're right.
So I don't care what his plus minus is. He's such a great player. But I will say, Sully, I never thought I would look at a stat sheet at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a non-conference, conference, SEC tournament, NCAA tournament, and see that Darius Acuff had a plus minus of we were minus 30 points when he was on the floor.
That's
amazing. What Saturday was. It was crazy.
Yeah, just an anomaly. I mean, we're probably not going to have another game like that this season. Hopefully not.
No.
And quickly, this week, do you think you can get two this week? South Carolina and Georgia will be tough.
Yeah, I think that the goal this week for the Razorbacks needs to be win 2. I think Wednesday, it's not a gimme. South Carolina's going to fight. Lamont Parrish brought a team in here, Coach Musselman's last year, and beat us in here. And so he's won in this building before, but he doesn't have a great team. But you're going to have to play to win. But we should win that if we play well at all. And then you got to go to Georgia, and we'll have to play well. I think we have a little more talent than Georgia. I think we're going to be a little longer, a little bigger than Georgia. And they don't have Darius Acuff. They don't have a Meleek Thomas. But they've got a nice team. And if we don't have a good game down in Athens, they'll beat us.
Yeah, I think we go 2-0 this week. I think we'll beat South Carolina pretty easy. And I think our talent, we should beat Georgia at Georgia.
Yeah. I just hate 8 o'clock on Wednesday, but whatever.
Yeah, 8 o'clock's not great. You know, some of our fans, they love it because it gives them a little more time to get there. But the bulk of our fans, like one of my neighbors, the first thing he told me on Sunday, well, he was complaining about the Auburn game. And the second thing was, I'll be there Wednesday, so I'll see you Wednesday. I said, you'll be there? And he said, yeah, I'll be there. But I said, can't take my kids. It's too late. And there are people that got to go to school. But this SEC network, ever since it got here in 2014, 2015, Sully, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock games, period. And that's the 6 o'clock's a little early, and the 8 o'clocks aren't great. But everything on the East Coast, it's 7 p.m. games, and then every once in a while they have a 9 p.m. game. It's pretty good for them.
Yeah, 9's way late though too. I mean,
9's too late for the East Coast.
Yeah.
But 7 o'clock, a lot of them get those 7 o'clock games.
Yeah.
Kentucky plays a lot of 7 o'clock games. That's pretty nice.
All right. Well, you're styling up there today, Z. And
you must have a new sponsor. You got a new shirt on. You must have a new sponsor.
I've worn his shirt 2 times. I think both times it's been on Sully and been on Hog Central Podcast.
It's TV. There you go.
I like it. Yeah, this is nice. It makes me feel good. Look good, feel good.
Appreciate both of you guys. And
right.
Thanks for tuning into the Hog Central Podcast. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Hog Central Podcast. New episodes drop Tuesday on YouTube or listen on the go. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every major podcast platform.